Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thank you so much for tuning in on Thursday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you all. We've got Trevor Lawrence clapping back at Kyle Brandt, saying games aren't won on paper. Love that response from Trevor Lawrence. Classy, not insulting, nothing like that. Just said, hey, games aren't won on paper. And I agree with the Jaguars star quarterback, number 16. We've also got numbers coming out. Speaking of number 16, Anton Harrison has decided to wear number 76, the same number that Luke Jokel wore during his time in Jacksonville, kind of cleansing the past, I guess you could say, with that number 76. Tank Bigsby continuing to wear number 4. Exciting for those guys getting their numbers in. But we are continuing on here with grading the picks. We've graded the top 3 rounds of the Jaguars 2023 NFL Draft. We're now getting into round 4 here. And it was an interesting one, I would say, for the Jaguars. Round 4 was. They had 2 picks in the 4th round. Ventrell Miller and Tyler Lacy. Welcome to Duval to both of them. At 121 overall, it was Ventrell Miller, the linebacker, off-ball linebacker out of the University of Florida. 24 years old, a little bit older than most prospects you see. Was a team leader, so you love to see that. By all accounts, one of the best team players that you'll find. A guy from Lakeland, Florida, close to home, so exciting for him to be able to kind of stay home to continue his football career here in Jacksonville. Played most of the 2022 campaign with a Jones fracture in his foot. So you obviously see the toughness that you want to see from a team leader type of guy, going to play through an injury throughout the entire season. He's a special teams guy who will contribute in that third phase of the game, I think from day one for the Jaguars. Really impressive downhill thumper for the Gators. There's no question about that. Constantly making plays and being around the football, was really the most consistent and best performing Florida defender over the last few years for them. My question is, does he have the ability to contribute on all 3 downs? I mean, maybe if you want to spin this in a positive way, you can say some of the athleticism might return that he didn't have in 2022 with that Jones fracture. Maybe healing up, could get more athletic, could be able to play all 3 downs. Personally, I don't see a guy even before the injury with the athleticism and the looseness in his hips to really perform at a high level in coverage. I have a hard time seeing that out of a Ventrell Miller. Then you look at the fact that the Jaguars are paying Foye Oluokun top dollar at the position. They traded up in the 1st round last year to get Devin Lloyd. They then drafted Chad Muma in the 3rd round. And of course, they have veteran special teamer backup Shaq Quarterman, who's a local kid who's also kind of in that same mold as a team leader and a thumper. He's already entrenched here. So right now, I would say Ventrell Miller entering this situation, entering the Jaguars 2023 offseason here, OTAs and all that coming up. Right now, I would say Ventrell Miller is linebacker 5 on the roster. Off-ball linebacker 5. Now again, if you want to spin positive, you could say that Devin Lloyd is expected to play more edge, and perhaps Miller proves to be a greater asset to the team than Shaquille Quarterman, even in year 1, despite Quarterman having a lot of experience and ability as a special teamer and as a 2-down thumper. So maybe Ventrell Miller could enter the season as linebacker 3 or linebacker 4, depending on Lloyd's use up front. Again, the Jaguars have said they're probably going to try to use him more at edge. Does that mean he's going to be a full-time edge defender? I don't think so. I think Devin Lloyd is still going to play mostly off ball. So for me, it's just looking difficult for Ventrell Miller to make a difference on this team outside of special teams and what he's going to bring to the locker room. At best case, I think you're talking about probably the 4th off-ball linebacker in 2023. Now, when you're planning for the future, I still don't see it making a lot of sense because Foye ain't going anywhere anytime soon. They restructured his contract, and so he's probably not going anywhere. They already paid him a pretty penny. I think he'll be here for at least the next 2 seasons. You also obviously have Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma. And Shaq Quarterman, he's cheap and effective for a special teamer and backup. So it's interesting for me long-term and short-term, like how does Ventrell Miller make a big difference for the Jaguars outside of special teams? And look, special teams is valuable, no question about it. But are you drafting a pure special teams player in the 4th round? 121 overall? I don't know. This was the worst pick of the Jaguars draft for me. And honestly, one of the most confusing picks of the entire 2023 NFL draft, regardless of team. There's no real path to playing time, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, special teams are a different story. There's not really a 3-down skill set that I see. So again, I think you drafted a culture fit / special teams guy in the 4th round. And I just don't understand how that makes sense. And I will say this, it's less about the talent that Ventrell Miller brings to the field, because he is a draftable talent in the NFL. There's still a role for 2-down thumpers that can also play special teams at a high level for you and be high character guys and be physical. Bring that to the field for you. And I do think he could be an early down thumper in this league. But where's the path to get there on this Jacksonville Jaguars roster? It's not there. I mean, did you need to take that over some of the talent that was on the board? I don't think so. We'll see how this pick plays out, but for me, this was the only really, really negative of the Jaguars 2023 NFL draft. And again, it's nothing personal against Ventrell Miller or his game necessarily. I don't understand how this guy is going to make a big enough impact to warrant a 4th-round pick, because a 4th-round pick, in my opinion, is a guy who should be looked at as a potential starter down the road, or at the very least, a rotational player on whichever side of the ball he's drafted, not just a special teamer. Again, we'll see how it plays out. That's going to get a D- for me, honestly. Up next, Jaguars with their second 4th-round pick in the 2023 NFL draft. They took defensive lineman Tyler Lacy at 130 overall out of Oklahoma State. Similar to pretty much everyone we talked about in terms of the high character, high football character, all that, going to be a good locker room guy. He's a little bit of a tweener in terms of his build. Is he a defensive end? Is he an edge player? Is he a defensive tackle? But I think that's perfect for the Jaguars because they have a versatile defensive front. They're going to give you a lot of different looks and allow Tyler Lacy to move around the front. In base, I think this is a guy that can play end for you, defensive end. When you get into those clear pass rushing situations, the lightning packages, whatever you want to call them, you move him around. I think he looked really good rushing from the interior at OK State against guards. Has a nice little bag of pass rush moves. He's quicker than most guards. He's more powerful than a lot of guards, and he's longer than a lot of them. So he has a big advantage when it comes to rushing on the interior against some of these NFL guards. I think that he'll have the ability to be an effective base run defender and an effective interior penetrator at the next level. You've seen comps to DeJuan Smoot. I think he also compares somewhat to Roy Robertson Harris in terms of where he'll play for the Jaguars, but I do think he can do a little bit of what both of those guys have done here in Duval for the Jaguars. And from a size perspective, he is a little bit kind of like right in the middle between a Roy Robertson Harris and a DeJuan Smoot coming out of college. Like I mentioned, 33 and a quarter arms, has the length you're looking for, big 11-inch hands. They really help him control the point. I think that helps him as a run defender a lot. He's as stout as they get against the run, but not sure you really want to have him at nose tackle, two-gapping or anything like that, taking on multiple blocks. But one-on-one, elite run defender, again, can really be an effective rusher from the interior as well. This was a guy the Jaguars had their eyes on the entire time. I had a 4th-round grade on him. They got him at the end of the 4th round. So for me, that's a super solid pick. I think he'll come out and find some reps in 2023, both on special teams and on defense at some point during the 2023 season. I think he's that good, even with some of the talent they already have up front, some of the talent and depth they have. I still think Tyler Lacy can work his way into that rotation during his rookie year. Long term, I think he's going to be a highly effective rotational edge. I think he should be able to start for you in a pinch because, again, he's not going to be a complete liability on any downs as long as you know how to effectively use him, and I think the Jaguars certainly will. I like the pick a lot. Again, kind of similar to Ventrell Miller, where there may be some folks on the board that I thought had more upside or more juice. Yes, sure. But is this a quality player with the measurables, the good tape, the outstanding football character that you're looking for? Yeah, absolutely. So it's a solid B for me. The Tyler Lacy pick, defensive lineman out of Oklahoma State. We're going to be running through the rest of these draft picks tomorrow. Round 5 was a really good one for the Jaguars. It's going to be fun to talk about that. We'll quickly run through round 6 and 7 as well. We're not going to spend as much time on round 6 and 7 because there was a boatload of picks, and I think they're all pretty much just flyers for the Jaguars at this point. But we will take a look at all those picks. We'll grade them all. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me know what you think about what the Jaguars did in the 4th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. I think overall, it was an average round, right? Ventrell Miller, do you really need to take a special teams linebacker who's a culture fit at 121 overall? I don't know. Tyler Lacy, think it was a very good pick. Was it the greatest upside pick in the draft? No, but I think it's going to be solid. He's going to end up being a guy the Jaguars are happy to have. That'll do it. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe as well. If you're on your podcast platform of choice, please subscribe and review. Have a good one, Duval.